Okay, we will continue where we stopped yesterday. So far the state machine is working. We are able to do the transitions and we're able to see them on an action and inside of the detail view. So let's make this better. Let's change the color of the status. I mean, depending on the status. The ones that are paid will be green, the ones that are overdue will be red, and the ones that are write off will be purple. So let's go to the state machine. Let's go to the invoice flow. And here let's start with paid. So let's go to appearance and let's create a new appearance rule. So this will be for view items and it will be for the view item amount. In here you can specify asterisk if you want to include everything in general. So the font color I will leave it as it is, but the back color will be green. So let's save and close, save and save here. So if it's paid, it should show the amount in green color. So let's come here to the invoice and let's refresh. Okay, so in the case that is overdue, let's do it with red and then purple with write off. So let's find overdue. Let's add a new appearance rule. This will be also for amount. And let's change it to red. And let's do also the write off. So it will be for amount also. And this will be purple. And let's save and close, save and close, and now let's refresh the list view. Okay, so it's working. So let's create a new invoice and let's go through the flow and let's see how the colors will change. So new invoice. Okay, to move it to draft, it needs to be greater than 0, right? So let's put 2. Now let's send it. And this is the last stage, so this will be let's do write off. Okay, so see, we have 3 write off, all of them are purple. We have 1 overdue and 1 pay. So let's add another overdue. So new invoice, amount greater than 1, draft, send, and overdue. Now see, the amount is red even here in the detail view. So let's close this and see, this is how it looks like at the moment. So with the state machine you can do validations and do conditional appearance basically. So as you can see, it's a really useful module. Now let's do something different. I will go to the state machine and disable this state machine. So now if I refresh the list, there is no colors anymore because the state machine that I created is not active anymore. So in here I have the same example also in code. So let me show you the code. Okay, so here I have added this class. It was commented out because otherwise I will have 2 state machines for the same object. So let's remove the comment. So okay, so the idea is the same. You create a state machine for the type invoice, and after that you need to create the start state and you put a marker, for example none. And after that you create all the possible states of the invoice, and after that when you have all the possible states you start doing the transitions like here. So from the start state it can go to draft or send as we did it before. Then from draft it can go to send and void, and then from send it can go to paid, overdue, void, and write off. And after that you add the states to the list of the states, and then you need to return the start state, which will be done in this case, and the name of your state machine, and then you need to set the property that is controlling the status or the state. In this case is the status property. So okay, so here we have the state machine in code. Now we need to do one more step. So let's go to the invoice object, and in here you need to implement the IT state machine provider. I already have it here, it was commented out. So this interface will force you to implement a method which is get machine states. So let's remove this comment, and basically this will load the possible states and the transitions from this object. So let's run this and see how it goes. So let me create a new invoice, and see, it's working the same as it was before. So let's change to draft. The only thing is that I didn't create the validations, so this is a little bit more simple. So in here I can change basically the states because I didn't add the validation rules, and let's do write off and save and close. So it works basically the same, but you cannot edit it because basically there is no record for that, and that's why I prefer somehow to create the state machines here inside of the application. So let me comment this out again, and let's go to the invoice and comment these methods. Okay, so the next thing that I want to show you is how the transitions are executed. So let me activate this again. Okay, so we have the state machine that we created inside of the application active again. So we have a controller in here, so let me show you the controller. Is this controller here. So in here I have done something like really simple. This controller, in the unactivated method, I get from the frame the state machine controller, and this state machine controller exposes one action, which is the change state action, so I can wire the execute event, and also there is another event, the transition executing and executed, but in here I only have wire one. So when we are doing the transition, when we either press the action or when it's changing in the controller, it will trigger these two events. Here you can hook up any custom code that you want, so it's really useful to know that you have the action and the event. So let's run this and let's put here some breakpoints. Okay, so let's create a new invoice, and let me put this here. Let's make it one so we can change it to draft. So first is the action. No, first is the transition executing that triggers, and then the action that it was executed. So if I change it to void, for example, again, first the transition and then the action. So this is how you can like trigger some other custom code in the change of the state. So far so good. We have been able to create state machines like in the data-driven way, which is inside of the application, also in code, and we know that we can handle or trigger custom code in the change state action or the transition executing event. So far the only thing that we need to do is maybe put a little bit more security to this um, to these state machines. So let's go back to the application, and here we will edit the state machine that we have. So at the moment I'm logging as admin, as you can see here. So let's do some extra validation. For example, um, let's go to one of the states, and okay, here in the write off, let's edit this one. So in the target object criteria, you can add a little pieces of the security system somehow. So for example, you can use a function that is called is current user in role. So you can ask on which role is the user at the moment. So let's add that to the criteria here. So here is like we will be able to write it off if the amount is less than $200 and the user is enrolled administrators. But I mean, I'm an administrator at the moment, so I will change this name to users instead. And save it. So let's save this and let's go and create a new invoice. Let's make it $1. Let's put it in draft and let's remove these breakpoints. Now send, and now let's try to write it off. It should not allow me because the admin user is not part of the user's role. So see, we have a validation error that is not accomplished this criteria, which is the amount less than 200 and that the current user is in the user's role. So let's go and put my user in the user's role. So here we have the admin, and right now I'm only in one role, administrator. So let's add a new role, or link a new role actually, and let's select default. Default is the name of the role. So let's go to the state machine and let's fix that because we set it to users. So this will be default, and let's save and close, and let's go and create a new invoice. So $1 draft, now send, and it should allow me to write it off. Yeah, it works. Why? Because the admin user is part of the default role, which was the condition that we needed to be able to write off the invoice. So as you can see, the state machine is really useful. It helps you to mix the security system, the conditional appearance, and the validation rules. So even though it looks like it's a lot of work to set up the transitions, it will make your application really dynamic, and you will be able to include new business roles in basically in runtime. So that's it for this video, and if you have any question, just write me. I will leave the contact information at the beginning of the video. Bye.